It's done cooled off out here again. It's supposed to be down in the mid-teens tonight, so trying to get buckled down for this evening. But I want to get out here and make one of these things. It's basically a pipe cleaner. Cleans out the bowls inside your pipe, and it closes up in a case. Nice little mortise and tenon joint there, and the bottom is actually tapered on this one. This was the prototype, but the bottom's actually tapered so you can kind of go around the bowl of your pipe, you know, and tamp it, and supposedly it kind of mounds it up in the middle. The way I'm going to do this is I've got a piece of walnut right here and a piece of maple, and I'm going to cut these down, mill them down a little bit, and mount them in the chuck and turn these pieces. So we're fixing to get started. This method that I'm using I actually got off of YouTube from a wood turner, and I haven't been able to find this video again. I made this one here probably 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago, and if anybody has seen this method before, please you know, comment and let me know who did the original video so I can give credit where it's due. Because I didn't design this myself, the way it's made, but I really like it, and the tenons, when they fit good, it's a really nice piece, you know, to go with your pipe. So but anyway, we're fixing to get started, and everything else. I'm going to get these pieces on the bandsaw, and we're going to get this old girl rolling. Make a good little spindle blank out of it. Okay, well, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to kind of rough this down a little bit and get me a cylinder I can turn around and get in my pin jaws. Just going to do that with my bowl gouge. Speed around 2,000. Okay, got her reverse mounted now. Got this all trued up. Got a center mark here that I made with my skew, so I can just bring my 1/2 inch Forstner bit in here and just bore a hole just for that. But I need to figure out what diameter I want the outside of this. Now, most of my pipes are 7/8 inch diameter, so I need it to be smaller than that. Doesn't have to be a lot smaller, but I'm thinking probably 3/4 inch is what the other is, I do believe. Let's see. It's yeah, it's 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this 3/4 inch, size it down with my parting tool. I'm getting close, right there. That's about 3/4. I'm an inch and 3/4 from the bottom of this lid right here down to here. I'm an inch and 3/4. You can see that right here, 1 3/4. Okay, so I need to bore a hole at least that deep, and I need to make my diameter longer than that. So I'm going to make my diameter right at 2 inches, and that's going to be back here. That'll give me a little bit of room for the tamper to have some wood back here on the tamper. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my diameter right and get my mark for my depth. going to try to just use my skew. Get myself close. Down an inch and 3/4 deep. So now I'm going to pull this back out of the way and get ready to go with my maple piece. And my maple piece, I'm going to go ahead and mount up. I've got this roughed. It's nowhere near finished, but I've got it roughed out. And let's just double check my depth. Okay. Alright. I'm dead on an inch and 3/4. So, I'm good to go there. I'll get my maple piece mounted up, and then we will, I'm going to turn the tenon and the little tip. And then we're going to get her remounted inside the case. And, once I get that done, we will, once I get that mount turned down and get the tenon on, then I'll remount the case in here and get it turned. And I'll also go ahead and turn the top part of the of this thing, this part here. So I'm going to turn this into something similar to this. And I'm going to mount it back in the case and turn the lid. Alright, so let's get this going. Alright, well, we've got our maple ripped down to a cylinder, turned down and trued up. Okay, the inside of this is right at 3/4 inches deep. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter than that, and put this at 7/8. I mean at 5/8, I'm sorry. Now that'll be the top, or where the lid starts. I'm going to drop back another 1/4 inch. And this area here will be my tenon, and from here out will be the little pick. Okay, I want to make this a 1/2 inch. So that it'll fit in the mortise, and then I want to drop maybe an 1/8 and then just kind of shape this into a point here. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to set my vernier calipers for 1/2 inch, which actually I may go a little bit more than that, just so I have a little wiggle room, you know, so that, alright, I can see my mark. Let me just, okay, gotta get me a better mark. Just sneak up on it. You don't want to go too far here, or your tenon will be loose. Alright, I should be good there. I'm going to take off the rest of the 1/2 inch for my tenon. Okay, we should be good there. Now I'm just going to start shaping the pitch. And I'll do that with my spindle gouge. Shape a little cove in here. I think it'll look neat. I think that's good. Now what I have to do is I have to double check my diameter right here and make sure that my tenon will be good. And I'll do that just by putting this on. Okay, good. I'm a little big. I'm just going to size this tenon down with my it'll just be a trial and error until I get it on there. And I'm almost there now, but it's almost there. But I'll be back in just a minute once I get that done. Okay, the tenon is sized. It's a very, very good fit. It's a little tight right now, but I'm about to do a little bit of sanding, so it ought to end up just about right. So let's get that off there. I'm going to do a little sanding. Now this part here will not get any finish. It'll just be sanded. Make sure I'm not in your way. Now I'm starting at 220 here. Touch it up nice. I don't want to do anything that's going to size that tenon down. Okay? There's 220, and I'll go about 320 on this. Alright, let's see what we got. Okay, I really like that. It's good and strong. Maple is a very good and strong wood. But now I'm going to mount the case back in, and I'll mount this. Well, I'll part this off first. I'll mount the case back in, and then I'll mount that in, and I'll finish that up. Okay, back in just a minute. What I did was just barely concave that, so that I know that I have a good tight fit around this outer edge once I get it returned. Okay, let's part this thing off. I'll get the case mounted up in here and get her turned around, and I will try to get this thing finished up. Okay, now I'm just going to try to design the top of this thing so that it looks nice. I think some kind of bead, maybe with a cove or something, will look nice. But we're just going to see what we get right quick. Nice, easy cut now, because this is only a friction joint, and I'll true this up with the walnut. Okay, I'm just going to put my little wire burn mark right here. Glass is back on. Gonna burn. Wait till it puffs of smoke. There we go. Nice little burn mark. Alright, now then, what I'm going to do here is my pipe has got a bark type texture on it, and I believe I'm going to put one on here also. But I'm going to go ahead and mark the very bottom. Make sure everything's good and squared up. Come right here, put a little mark for a burn mark. I'm going to burn that in. I'm going to get my Dremel. I'm going to get my Dremel out, and I'm going to put my little bark texture on there, and then we're going to get this joker finished up. Okay. All right. I'm going to sand this just a touch. I'm just going to go with a little bark. Well, need to sand back with the grain a little bit here. Make sure I don't have any marks in there. I don't believe it would show up in the bark texture, but just making sure. Now the idea here is to go from this line down to that first line and just make me some lines. Use your thumb to anchor with. Just make random marks. And I'm just going to go vertical with it. Just like this. Make sure you don't make any straight marks. So you can see how that's going to look. And I'll go back over it a couple of times, just making sure that I didn't miss anything. And I'll just keep on going. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, now once you get the bark type texture on it, all these little burrs have got to come off. You know, you want to kind of, I like using a brass brush and sandpaper to try to get them off. But now some of them are hard to get off. There's just not much you be able to do about it until you get your first coating of finish on it. And once you do that, these fibers that keep moving around, they'll stiffen up a little bit. And after they start stiffen up, then you can cut them off with sandpaper, you know, pretty easy. But okay, I'm just going to sand these burrs off, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, let's just get ready to part this old girl off. I'm just going to use my parting tool. I'm just going to part it off. I will finish this with tung oil, the same as the pipe. And alright, get one of the glasses on here. Okay, let's part this old girl off. Okay, now I've got a little nub right down here at the bottom. What I'm going to do with that, I'm just going to go over to the sander and knock that off and flatten this bottom real good. And I'll be back in just a minute once I get that done. Well, okay, here we are. I've got 3 coats of tung oil on it, and it's cured up. It's taken about 4 hours. It's not completely cured, but it's not tacky, and you don't leave fingerprints in it. So it's in good shape. I didn't finish this part at all. I still have a little bit of walnut dust in there, but I didn't finish the bottom part at all. So that's unfinished, and the bottom of this, I resanded it after the finish so that you know, there's no finish down there when you go to tamp it. So now I have my pipe. If I want to clean out the bowl, I pull it out and I can clean out the bowl. Just pick it out just like that. If I just pack it with tobacco and I want to tamp it, I can always tamp it just like that. So anyway, it's a fun project. You know, got some skills involved with it, and you can be as elaborate if you want. Let me see. Like I say, this is the very first one that I made right here. I tapered the bottom of it, but I didn't taper the bottom of my new one. But I was basically just practicing with this one, and you know, but it works good, and the tenon's still good and tight too. So there was my first one, and here was my second one. And you know, just use your imagination and make it ever how you want to. I really enjoyed this project. You know, I haven't made but just a couple of these, but once you make one and you kind of figure out what your measurements need to be and all, you're in good shape. All right, well, you guys have a good evening. It's going to be a little chilly tonight, so I'm fixing to go help my son split up some wood, and we're going to get in there. We're going to get in there and get a fire going. All right.